changing to Wednesday?
Yeah.
So we can go ahead and modify and put it up as a,
Wednesday good as Thursday.
okay.
Change it to Wednesday.
Okay.
Wednesday's good for me.
That's the day, just so you know, it's the day after New Year's, everybody good with that?
Mhm.
I'm in town, so,
I
Okay.
gotta work that day anyways.
yeah, we could.
Both of y'all gotta work that day?
Yeah, man.
We can't do it on Thursday, on Wednesday then. I gotta work that day too.
So are we going for the second or are we going for the third?
Going for the second.
I
Okay.
gotta work on the third too.
Everybody's okay with the second at this point, correct? All right. Okay, the holiday schedule, did y'all see anything new or any questions on that? All right. And do we have anything related to the one for the Public Works to start the management of Ruffner Park, since we had a very thorough discussion on that at the last meeting, actually?
I do have one question.
Go ahead, I'm sorry, let you go first.
Okay. And I apologize for my absence, this was probably covered. But where is city leagues, is there a priority list or anything like that? Or are we looking to make sure that our city leagues and stuff like that will kind of have the first shot at these fields?
I'll defer to the mayor, because that discussion did come
That
up.
was part of our discussion.
Right, that was sort of discussed. Of course, our own will get the, get the first options.
Right.
What they need. This will all be handled through Public Works.
No, I got you, and I'm in total agreement with that being managed at the
The
city.
real intent was to make sure that, all these calls that come in, so this, because this is kind of been a repeat thing.
Right.
People coming to you all, sometimes individually, sometimes showing up on a council night. You can just say it goes through Public Works.
Sure. But the
And Frank
priority.
will look at, Frank will look at that, and if it makes sense, then we'll do it, and if it doesn't, then we won't.
Okay. That was my only concern.
That's it. Would y'all be sure your mics are on, that you're using them, please? We're not coming through on the recordings again, so. Thank you.
Did we decide on a dollar amount that we're gonna charge per session or night?
That is something that would be recommended, I think, by Parks and Rec.
We're working on the details of all that. We don't have a finalized version of it.
Okay.
That'll be something, if it needs to come back in the form of a resolution, it will.
Do we need to bring that back before the council, or can we get put in?
Not
the
necessarily, I think we
discretion of
turned it over to the
Parks?
discretion of Parks and Rec,
That's what
if we pass the resolution.
Okay.
And again, that was the intent of doing it this way, is so that every one of those little things didn't have to come back to you all to,
Right.
So my question, just looking at this resolution over and over, so the park committee has been being taken out of all of this? I just think the park committee, one of us, not just me, but one of us should be involved into the negotiation part of it.
well, the committee never, none of the council committees are action committees, those are review and report committees. So it doesn't change anything there. But again, that's the whole intent of this, is so that you're not trying to do it by committee, that you have someone who's in charge, someone who's skilled, someone who knows what they're doing, and they do the job.
Yeah.
Just like in
I don't think we need to bring it before the committee every time.
No,
that
that's not
somebody
right.
comes
Let me
up.
finish.
Is this okay for us to schedule?
Can I finish the point first? No, I'm not saying bring it forward to committee, but I think we ought to have a representative at the negotiation side of it from a committee standpoint, because there's gonna be a lot of questions. Just being transparent. That's what we say we want to be, just being transparent. Because as chairperson, I get a lot of phone calls. But if I don't know, I know I have to go there, but I think we ought to be at the round table in the negotiation process. Because, I understand this, I'm an athletic guy, I'm a sports guy, and they understand, we understand this, how this works. So I just think this is from a committee standpoint, we ought to have at least a representative at the negotiation table.
There's really not going to be any negotiation. This is not long-term, for long-term use. This is for, if someone wants to rent the fields, then, and they're available, then we agree to do that. This is not to turn it over to someone, negotiate like you did with the slam sports or any of those kinds of deals. That's not my intent here.
That's right.
I think this should be, if, turn it over to the mayor and he'd appoint somebody to keep the schedule and.
Yeah, I don't think you have to have a meeting. or
No, I don't think we
conversation
need to
do
meet with anybody, just, I schedule vacations and off days of work, I got a calendar to write it on, and that's, I think that's all we would need. Somebody can write it on the calendar.
Well, I just made my point. I think someone from representatives should be in the negotiation process at the beginning. Because, it's in here, the mayor will be hereby authorized to negotiate and execute a lease agreement of other use agreement. It's in here already. So I just think the representative should be there in the negotiation process. Now, I'm not saying make a decision, we don't make a decision, but it is property, council does have, we have
The
overseer.
problem may be, the idea with this, we're having paid employees that are available when this comes up, not people like us, like y'all, that have other jobs that basically may not be able to attend because that's been part of the process.
I quite
trying to
honestly
get
don't envision
working
any
people in.
meeting is my concern or point is, it's a decision, someone says, can we rent the field on Saturday? Someone in Public Works, Parks, Department's gonna look at the calendar and say, nope, Saturday's all booked up, and so we're not gonna call the Parks Committee to look at the calendar to schedule that or not schedule.
And in all fairness, I think the idea was to create a standard contract. And that doesn't mean that there's not a possibility that could be passed on to the committee members if they wanted to review it, might have suggestions. But again, it's going to probably be developed by council, so it will have all the terminology we need in it. But again, there's really nothing there to negotiate as such. Once the contract is in place, it's going to be the same no matter who the group is what I understand.
So what's the term, why we have negotiate in here, we're not gonna negotiate anything? Why we have that terminology in it?
Where does it say negotiate?
Number 2. If we're not gonna be negotiating anything, why is that in there? If we just gonna turn it over to the mayor and Frank to turn it over with no negotiation, then just do that and take this clause out.
I'm good with that.
I mean, why is that in there? I
Mayor,
still think the committee should be around the table. Somebody from this committee ought to be around the table when you're talking about negotiating
You all
anything.
have a choice to do whatever you want to do. And this is not really a controversial thing.
Not that controversial.
I said at the last meeting, if you want us to do it, then we can do it. And if you want to have meetings and committee meetings and council meetings to.
I didn't say anything about a meeting.
I'm
Didn't say
sorry.
anything about it.
I'm saying what I said.
Yeah, but you saying a meeting. I'm not saying meeting. I want to hear what you
Excuse me,
say.
I think what he's saying is he hasn't finished. If you don't mind.
You
let him
cut me
finish.
off. I wasn't finished.
Okay, I'll recognize the mayor first, then we'll come back to you, okay? Thank you.
So I got cut off first.
I'll defer.
I'm gonna defer to the mayor.
Let's don't play games. Go ahead, Mayor, please.
Yeah, I defer to the president. This is not that hard. This is not that
Okay,
hard.
John.
What I was saying was what I said at the last meeting, that if you all would like for us to do that, staff to do that, we will manage it. If you don't want us to do it, you can have park committee meetings, you can have council meetings, you can have whatever you want. I mean, that's your prerogative. That was just an offer from our discussion last time, that we would manage it so that we wouldn't, like we did in the meeting last time, have people around the table saying, well, they said this day, and they said that day, and they said we couldn't use this field or that field. You have somebody in charge who is knowledgeable, more knowledgeable, quite honestly, than anyone in this room, who's been through that process, myself included, to manage it. And if you don't want to use the staff that you're paying to do that kind of work, then you can have whatever kind of meetings you want. That's all. That's what I said last time.
Well, I think you and I are on the same page of managing it. I'm not disagreeing with that part of it. But you got a negotiation clause in here.
But I think we already agreed that could be eliminated, not affect the contract.
You have to negotiate a contract, you can't eliminate it, because you don't have to negotiate a contract. If someone calls and say, I want to use the field, you have to negotiate a contract with the person that called, or you're not going to have to negotiate, you decide. So who decide who comes use the field and who's not? Is that
Again, Councilor London, I think point was, we're taking the word negotiate out. There's no additional discussion about negotiation.
Mr. President, you just cut me off. Can I finish?
I know, because you're repeating yourself on a point that's not there. We're not going to negotiate, we're going to have a standard contract. We can take that word out of the resolution. Now, please, if you want to continue, go ahead.
Please don't cut me off.
Point's moved.
Please don't cut me off again, okay? Thank you, sir. All right, I'm trying to finish, because it's not that big a deal. It really not that big a deal, because we do agree that Frank ought to manage the property. But you got to negotiate in here, and I think when you negotiate a contract or anything dealing with the field, the committee ought to give a head up. I just think that should be, that's just process of where it should happen. That's all I'm saying. You know, so what's hard about why can't we put that in there? And it'll be perfect, I think it'll be great. Because I like all the rest of it, I really do. I like all of it. But when you negotiate it, we ought to be informed and not blindsided when we walk on the field and say, oh, you out here, or you out here. I think the committee ought to get a heads up. Not a meeting, just a phone call. Just a phone call from the mayor, or Frank, or email or something to keep us abreast of what's going on with the fields. We don't want to be blindsided by who out there and who's not out there. That's not the way this should work. Okay?
Mr. Wilson, I think you had some comment, or did you were...
Yeah, first I apologize for being late. I guess I'm not getting my emails, but I'm assuming we're talking about the negotiation of the park deal at Ruffin Park. I'm gonna go back to what I've been saying all along. I think it's a process, and I think we're not handling the process like we should. I think the park committee should be included in the negotiation, field. But at the same time, you know, I don't have any problem with.
Would you please use your mic so we can hear you on the recording? Thank you.
I don't have any problem with, you know, how it's written, but I think the park committee should go to the park committee. That's all I have.
So when that comes up at the main meeting, it'll depend on how the resolution reaches the floor, and then what we do on the vote. Is that agreeable?
I have a comment. I think negotiate should be taken out. The mayor should, and his staff should be able to determine the cost to schedule the parks, and they execute it and keep up with the calendar, who's there. I don't think the council or Parks Committee or anybody else needs to be notified. It's just, they got a calendar, who's going to be there, when they're going to be there, and that's somebody designated to keep up with it, and let the mayor and the Parks Department handle it.
Would that not be posted on the city's website?
We haven't gotten that far in terms of.
Okay, just a question. Councilor
We
Spider?
don't even know if you're gonna, I'm sorry, because we don't even know what you're gonna have us to do. I don't understand.
Okay. Councilor Spider, you have a comment, apparently?
Not really. I mean, I agree with the management and stuff. I can see where maybe Councilman London's going about the negotiation piece. I think that's probably a good idea to get rid of that word. I would be kind of curious on if you have put any thought around what the dollar figure might be to rent it on an hourly basis.
We talked about that at the last meeting. I know you weren't able to be here.
Yeah.
No problem. Frank used the example of when, and this is about 10 years old, when his kids were doing this. That's how Gardendale did theirs, is they rented out the field by the hour, and they were at $30 an hour. We're thinking somewhere between $40 to $50 an hour for the field. Okay. And it would be, you know, quite honestly, it'd be very limited use on that, because we've got the RFP going out for that. This is kind of a stopgap. I mean, I quite honestly don't understand how it's that difficult. I mean, we can manage it if you want us to. I think there's precedent here already. We rent out the senior center, and you know, we don't have a committee that has to meet to decide if it's available, and you know, that it can be rented on whatever day. That's just handled by staff. So this is not, we're not creating something new here. I do think that, and I'll just, at the risk of opening up another discussion, I really won't respond. I do think that there's
a gross misunderstanding of what these council committees are, what their authority is and what their responsibilities are, and we can discuss that another night when we got nothing else to do.
Well, I know what park committee responsibility is. It's just a conversation committee to bring back to the council. That's all it is. No decision making at all. None whatsoever. These committees have no decision at all for anything to do with the city. None. I know exactly what that's for. But all I'm saying is, if you want to have a park committee, if you're gonna have it, if you don't have to have it, but if you're gonna have a park committee, don't you think when we deal with parks, we should be included in that discussion?
There probably will be things of that nature, but this doesn't seem to have any need for a committee structure to make determination. And you will be updated just like the rest of us if you're interested. There's no reason that we can't be updated. That's not the issue.
How are we gonna be updated?
That can be determined. I don't think we know all of that yet because we haven't actually passed the resolution to turn it over. Frank would have to come up with that. We're talking about a working department head who's being paid and we're making responsible. And I'm sure he would be glad to share information in some format with the council if we so desire.
Now, one follow-up question, if I may. The RFP that's going out, all right, as far as parks, the park committee is concerned, when those, I know I've kind of said I'll take those phone calls when those start rolling in and everything, is that, is when we get that RFP in, are we still going to be able to look at that? Or does this take that ability for us to look at those RFPs away from us?
No, that's
No,
not anything.
no.
This is-
Okay.
That has nothing to do with that.
Okay, I was just kind of, I was like, okay, let me overanalyze this a little bit, and I was focusing on managing and maintain.
Yeah, this
Okay.
is really silly.
Schedule
And
component.
hopefully, once you get those proposals in and you get a plan and you get the park developed, it'll be a whole different ballgame.
Fair enough.
So let's think at that point.
I mean,
Just
even
came up because of
when you get it
continuing
redone,
request.
I
No,
think,
I get it, I just want to double check how far reaching it was.
even when you get it redone, I think it's a great idea for the city to manage it.
It may be.
We're not disagreeing with that part of it, because I agree to that part. Just make sure everybody understands, we agree with that part of it. The managing part of it, I think Frank will do a good job with it. But when you're dealing with the parks, I think we just phone call, email, he can agree to do that right now. That's
But
not a big deal.
again, I think that's something that could be determined, and if, it's desirous, it can be passed along.
Well, you pass the resolution, then he can do what you want to do. You don't make that decision right now.
Well, how do you get notified at the senior centers?
We should be, we ought to be getting notified with that also. Plus, we own the building, and command towns ought to do it.
The senior center schedules the center rentals. My family has rented it in the past for parties. Other people, other groups, other organizations rent it. I never get a notice. They don't send me a schedule of who's renting it when. There's no need for them to. They know what
You didn't have to
they're
come to
doing.
the council to
No.
ask, could you rent it?
No.
There's a process in place.
Well, I think that this,
No other member.
Again, I'm not saying come to the council, you're putting words out there that's not true. I'm not saying come to the council, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying anything come to the council. I'm not saying, that's not what I'm saying. You're saying that, I'm not saying come to the council.
Well, the
That's not what I'm
Parks
saying.
Committee is the
That's not what I'm
council,
saying.
is formed from the council, so that's
we ought to
why
get a
it's
phone
to the
call.
council.
I think,
Because we have a vested interest in the parks. As a citizen of Irondale, I have a vested interest in those parks. I do, I really do. I really do, because I have grandbabies that play this. I have grandbabies that play this.
at this point, I think we've discussed it.
that's,
Again, when it comes up in regular meeting, whoever puts the resolution forward can put it forward in some format. I think we need to proceed with allowing the parks to be managed as far as availability. This serves that purpose. We can work out semantics and the information piece later. It does nothing to impact the ability of the Parks Committee to still be part of the structure and help make determinations when things are done with the parks. It's just this one piece we're putting under a structured format that hasn't existed before. One more
Let me
comment?
just put some clarity to this. Does anyone know how the structure was made? I mean, the decision as far as how much we charge to rent the senior center, does anyone know how that came up? Mayor?
That was before me being here.
Okay, well,
Oh,
it came to the
excuse me.
body of the city council.
He is,
It came to the body of the city council. Initially, we determined how much we would rent the senior center
How
out.
much is it?
I don't know, I haven't rented it in a while. I'm explaining as far as the process, as far as how the process went along. It came before the council, and we decided how much that we was gonna rent the senior citizen out for.
How much was that?
And I guess basically, I don't know the amount back then. Like I said, it's the process, basically it's the process. I'm not talking about the amount, we're just talking about the process. And I think what Councilman London was actually explaining, it just goes to show how far behind that we are, that we don't go through the process as far as running it through committees, as far as discussing the situation or any kind of negotiation, whatever it may be, and then bringing it to the council like we should. But at the same time, as far as the process, that's how it needs to be, that's how it should be done. When you have committees, when you have standing committees, it always should go to a committee and then come to the council.
and I think we need to recognize Cal, he handles part of the rental, and I know he knows how the process works.
Cal didn't make a decision as far as what was,
But you
being
wanna know
charged.
how it works now, let's find out.
no. We determined as far as how much we were charging as far as to rent out the facility.
So I think.
I'd like to recognize Cal to
Well,
explain.
just a minute, let's, before we, Cal, would you like to just comment real quickly?
All right, basically, the rates were set, what, 10, 15 years ago.
It was said when I was.
Currently, since then, the rates have gone up a couple of times that I know of. And it was decided totally in-house at the center
It was
as to
ran
what the
through
rate
council.
is. I
And,
believe it's $50 an hour,
Ran through the council.
4-hour minimum right now.
You
It
did
was
not,
ran through the
you
council.
did not even understand because you told someone they could use it for free. And let them use it. I mean, so.
Mayor, I'm gonna say this on record, you are a lie.
Yeah,
That is a lie,
okay.
because I would never tell anyone, no, I'm gonna address this. You are a lie, because I have never told anyone that. I've always known that it was a fee to rent that facility. So, your statement needs to be retracted,
We got a copy of your.
because
check where you
that's
went back
not
and
true.
paid that.
and we talked about that, which was not true.
Why'd you pay that?
Now, if you really wanna know, the director advised the person who was renting, who wanted the facility, that they could use the facility, but I never made the statement that it was free.
Why'd you go pay it back then?
Again, we're getting off the subject in pre-council, this,
And if we keep
again,
making those
if-
statements, then we could talk about that a little bit.
I think that's something y'all need to talk about
Okay.
outside of this meeting.
And we can talk about that
You've
in
made your
court.
response. Any other comments on the particular issue? Again, the understanding, it is not taking anything away from Parks and Recreation when they're needed. The other thing is, you've got to be like any other committee, you've got to be able to meet, you've got to meet frequently enough if you're going to try. We are legislative, we are not administrative. This is an administrative function. So keep that in mind. Again, when this comes up, it will go to the vote and we'll see what the vote says. Any other questions?
Mr. President, on number 1, you need to explain to Councilman Wilson what happened.
We did have a request to change that to Wednesday, the 2nd. So the day after New Year's Day. And you had everybody available if that was changed. Now, any other discussion?
Yeah, I'd like to discuss the minutes from the last council meeting.
Why don't we do that, or do we?
Well,
when we go
it's
to-
gonna be quite a lengthy discussion if you wanna put it off. Then we got plenty of time now. I think.
Okay.
Have the discussion now and then.
Try to
make the
determine
motion
who's
at
on
the time.
first, okay.
Okay, all right, James, can we look at, items number 1 and 2 under unfinished business, please.
I don't have it with me, but can you tell me what?
All right, I'll read it. It says, the resolution 2018 R61 earmarks 1% of the lodging tax to fund special events in the city of Irondale. Councilor Wilson moved the motion, and it was seconded to postpone the resolution to February. 2 yeses and 2 noes, so that motion failed.
Correct.
All right. Then it says Councilor Bearden moves the motion, and it was seconded to adopt the resolution. That is incorrect. Councilor Bearden made a motion that the resolution be denied, not adopted.
But that wasn't the motion. The written motion was, first, you got the written motion.
Mm-hmm.
You all didn't want to vote on the written motion. So you decided that you would amend it, which the amended takes priority over the regular motion.
Okay.
So the amendment failed. So once the amendment failed, you have to move a motion for the motion unless you're gonna make another amendment. But you didn't make an amendment, you just moved the motion.
All right, I defer to our city council, lawyer, because we've already discussed it.
I believe that a motion can be made to deny the resolution. It was a resolution.
But that would be changing the motion.
No.
It wouldn't change the motion. If the motion reads one way, and you make a,
When you're saying motion, do you mean resolution?
yeah, I'm talking about the resolution. The
Okay.
resolution is written one way,
Right.
and we tried to amend it initially.
I don't think that that's an amendment. I mean,
No,
it's
I'm
just a
saying-
motion to deny the resolution. I
Well-
deem that to be different than amending the
Well,
resolution.
then you'd have to rewrite the motion, right?
No.
How can you move a motion that's written one way and you state it another way from the way that it's written?
It may be that during the break, you and I can talk and get on the same page, but you keep on saying, move the motion, but what I think you mean is move the resolution, but maybe I'm misreading what you're saying.
Well, the motion is the resolution.
No,
It's
no,
not.
those are two different
Okay.
things. You have a resolution, and then there's a motion to either, normally it is to approve the resolution. In this case, it was to deny the resolution. It doesn't change the resolution, it was a motion to vote down the resolution. The resolution was the same terms that it was, but it was a
Well,
motion to
if he
deny.
wants to, I mean, the minutes belongs to the council. So if that's the way that he wants it to be stated, only thing he has to say, can you change it to be that, and I'll change it.
You're
And that'll
right.
be it. We really don't have to, I mean, it's not a
You're right.
discussion going back to determine who interpretation is right, if that's the way he wants it to be stated.
Yeah, the motion was to deny the resolution, and then you have London and Wilson voting yes, and Marino and Bearden voting no, which is also inaccurate, because a vote for deny was 2 yeses from Bearden and Marino, 2 noes were from Wilson and London. So, and that needs to be changed on both item number 1 and number 2 on unfinished business from the last council meeting.
So hopefully we'll have about 20 minutes to resolve that before council meeting.
Either that, or if you wanted to, you could table the approval of these minutes until the next meeting, and then that would give an opportunity for them to be revised and distributed so that everybody can see it and make sure you're comfortable with it. And then you would have an opportunity to vote on it. If that
Okay.
is something that works for you.
It's Leslie, belongs to them.
Right, I
So
mean, it's just,
whichever-
I was trying to, whatever's easy.
Whichever way they want to change it.
I just like it corrected to read the way it was presented.
And these were sent out on Thursday, and today is Tuesday. So,
That's why I was just trying to buy a little more time so that everybody would have. an
I mean, that's why I sent them out in
opportunity.
advance, so if you have any corrections, I was here today and Tuesday to be sent that information to make those corrections.
Okay, under the circumstances, since we probably will have some additional discussion at regular council, Is there any possibility that 1 and 2 could be done on consent?
I don't have a problem with it.
That's the change of the meeting date to Wednesday the 2nd, and the one that approves the holiday schedule for the employees.
We'll go with 1 and 2 on consent.
So.
Let me ask a question. Did we discuss the holiday schedule before approval?
It's exactly the same as it was last year that you approved. No change. That's what Mr. Stewart.
Right, but the question is, have we discussed it? Have we discussed it previously? Council?
We discussed it at,
Before you walked in.
No, we didn't really discuss it, it was the same as last year. And that's the only discussion we had on it. So we all agreed to, that's okay. It's the same as last year, so it's okay with us. That's what we're
Did
talking
you
about.
prefer something different?
No, we normally just talk about it before we approve it.
Okay.
same one we talked about the year before approved. No change whatsoever.
Okay. Let's move
No
back to
change.
number 1 if he has questions.
Well, I'm open, so, 1 and 2 on consent, or just 2, or 1, or anybody willing to go out on that?
I'll
Yeah,
think,
we put it on consent.
okay.
Okay, so we can do 1 and 2? Is that agreeable? All right,
Yes.
thank you so very much. And we'll have whatever discussion we need on 3 and the minutes if we need to. We don't table. Any questions from the audience while we have time? Okay, if not, do I have a motion to adjourn pre-council?
Let's do
Second.
Those in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. You'll try to see what you can work out. Officially call the meeting to order, and Councilor London,
Present.
Councilor Spivey,
Present.
Councilor Bearden,
I'm here.
Councilor Wilson, and myself present. All right, and just before we get into the meeting, just thank everyone for being here tonight, and the best of the season, whatever season you celebrate at this time of year. And thank y'all for being here, especially with it being so close to the holiday. Appreciate it. And Councilor Bearden, since you had some questions on the minute.
Yes, James and Leslie, did y'all get together on how it should be worded?
What my recommendation would be to table the approval of the minutes from the last meeting and allow James to make the modifications so that everybody can review it, make sure you're comfortable with it, and then put it on the next agenda.
All right, I'll make a motion that the minutes for December the 4th be tabled, postponed, and until January the 2nd meeting.
Second.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Councilor Spivey?
Yes, sir. I make a motion for the approval of the current bills for payment in the amount of $453,302.54.
Second.
Second, okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, motion carries.
Hey, what did you say that amount was?
I've got 453,302.54.
Okay, thank you.
451, 305, 49.
I was going off the email that you sent out the other day.
Okay.
So it should be 451 instead of 453.
No, we'll go, I had a different number.
All right.
I didn't know if there was maybe another agenda that.
Okay, no, it wasn't,
Okay.
I was trying to.
Yeah, 453,302.54 is what I got.
All right.
Okay.
We'll be able to pay our bills, correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And any professional consultant reports? No? Okay. Mayor, any comments tonight?
Yes, I want to recognize David Pugh from the CDA for her report first.
Do it during yours? Okay.
Okay, David?
I think he's moved you up, Mr. Pugh.
All right, very good. Thank you all. I just wanted to give the council a report. I've never needed one of these.
Well,
I just wanted to give the council a report on some of the recent developments with the CDA with respect to our engagement of retail strategies. We elected to go forward with the first step, which was in which retail strategies would conduct what they refer to as a retail academy for a total of $7,500. They did a great deal of research on the city of Irondale, and they presented all that yesterday. We met with them for 6 hours, a 6-hour training session, which had several purposes. Number one, to present the data they found out about Irondale and what they saw us promising opportunities. Number two, to begin to train each of us to speak to potential businesses in the way that they need to hear. What data are they really interested in before a real estate acquisition specialist for a company is going to be interested? So in essence, to train us to do what they do. And we were all that meeting was attended by all the CDA members other than Victor Childers, who had a conflict, as well as the mayor, his assistant Patricia Birch, James Stewart, and Councilman Marino. And everything that I heard was very positive feedback. At the CDA meeting yesterday, we elected to go forward with the full services contract for the next year. Now, in addition to the services they'll be providing as far as developing data and trying to establish contacts with businesses, they will continue to conduct training opportunities. And as we did with the session yesterday, we'll make sure that all of the council gets notice of those opportunities, as well as the Downtown Redevelopment Authority members, the IDB members, and the Zoning and Planning Commission members. If we're going to pay for this training, we want to milk every bit of value that we can get out of those opportunities and make sure that those are available to everybody.
Just to emphasize a couple of the major points, for example, cooperative.
Yeah, well, you remind me of several things I'd like to point out. There was a prior experience with the same entity in our city. But I want to emphasize several things. It's an entirely new management in place at Retail Strategies and an entirely new CDA. And we're going to have positive results this time. I can guarantee it. We're going to milk it for all that it is worth. The most promising new member of their team, in my opinion, I think it's shared by others, is a man named Jeff Rousey. If you're an Alabama football fan, or actually if you're a fan of some teams that Alabama played, you probably remember him. He was an All-American linebacker that played for Coach Bryant in the 70s. He's had a lengthy career in real estate development, including quite a bit of time with AIG Baker, which was one of the largest commercial developers in the area. For the last several years before joining Retail Strategies, he served as, in essence, commercial development, in charge of commercial development for the city of Foley. And we use Foley as a case study for the potential for success in commercial development in a municipality roughly the size of Irondale. We studied two developments in particular that I think, Cindy, you may remember, Mr. Mayor, I think resulted in a total net additional tax income of 77 million gross. 77 million gross receipts from these two developments in the city of Foley. Of course, they were competing with much wealthier and more sophisticated municipalities like all the Eastern Shore municipalities, Daphne, Fairhope, and Gulf Shores. And they were sort of a very short-term success. The thing that they emphasized is successful business recruitment of this type takes time, and it takes a unified voice, a unified and responsive voice on the part of the city. Jeff Rousey emphasized time and again, the word got out to businesses that had overlooked Foley in the past, that Foley was all on the same team, singing from the same song sheet, and they were open for business. And that's the same kind of spirit and response I hope we'll have in the city of Irondale.
And I think his other emphasis was from inception to execution, they at a minimum take at least 3 years.
Yeah.
So in spite of what you see on Facebook, it's not like you can go out and get a business necessarily and have it up and running in a couple of months.
In fact, you said any company that's publicly traded, their 2019 deals are done.
Yeah.
They're done. Unless they have a project drop out, the only short-term success will be small companies, very small companies. But 2 to 3 years out, we hope to see some results.
Hey, what was the amount of the full service contract?
$7,500 for the Retail Academy, $32,500 for the first year full service.
And they already had some handouts.
$32,500.
For the first year,
Yes.
75.
thousand?
7,500 for the retail academy.
Okay.
32.5 if we let go to full services, and then succeeding years if we re-engage is 40 and 40.
And they did have some handouts where they've done some promotional overviews, like a map with information on it, and this time it was accurate.
It's very accurate. In fact, they gave us a zip drive, a copy of which has been provided to the mayor, and the other 2 copies of which the CDA has obtained. Happy to share that with anybody. I don't think there's anything confidential on that. I think that's all public information we'd be willing to share. And then there's hard copy printouts too, a book summarizing some of their findings. Happy to share that with anybody who's
Can you
interested.
make a zip copy for, I mean, a jump drive copy for all the council
Absolutely.
members to look at?
Absolutely.
How long is that contract again? I heard you say a year.
Yeah, we haven't signed it yet, but it's a year with renewable a second and third year. Oh, and I should emphasize this. We told them that our condition would be, if we engage them, that they not enter into the same or similar contract with any municipality that shares a border with us. Now, I realize I can't cut them out. If they want to go do something with Adamsville or Bessemer, okay, but anybody on this end, it's got to be us for 3 years if we do the full 3 years with them.
Who are some of the other members of that board, name-wise?
Retail strategies?
Yeah. Besides Jeff Browser.
What's the CEO's name? Jolly? Is it Roger Jolly?
Richard Jones.
Robert
Yeah,
Jolly.
Robert Jolly
Robert Jones.
is the primary, is the CEO, and then General Counsel, Stephen Lira, Matt Petro is one of the vice presidents for business development. I can direct you to the website, it's probably quicker. They've got pictures and bios of each of their project specialists.
Thank you, you sure appreciate that.
Now, one more question. You say you'll let us know as far as the academy when the next time they'll have.
Yeah, whenever they have training sessions, we'll make sure that they're.
Will it be in the morning? Will all these training sessions be in the morning?
Usually.
Okay.
They've got a training room there, so they do it, as part of their regular day's work. So I realize that's an imposition with work schedules, but it's the best we can do.
Okay.
Mayor, any additional?
Yeah, thank you, David, for sharing and giving that update. And I want to thank you, and Cindy's here representing the CDA. I think that's all the members that are here right now. You all are
Can I add one thing, Mayor?
Sure.
One of the things that, as part of their discussion with us, they noted some potential retailers that, were based on properties, based on their research, what they found, that would fit in these certain acreage areas and buildings. And they stress, while it may not be what this person likes or this person likes and so on, what you want to focus on is getting someone to get the word out. If they're a good client, if they're bringing in, making sales of $3.5 to $4 million a year, it's a start. It's not a big whale, but it's a start. That's an additional $3.5 to $4 million that they're going to be paying some tax revenues on. And so while it may not be to the liking of me or David or anyone else, or even the city council, maybe a member of city council, it's a start. And that's what you want to focus on. Unity, cooperation, and drawing in business. It's not going to be to everyone's liking, but it's a start. And there begins the process. So I wanted to focus that. And he commended the mayor in some of the comments, about it may not be to my liking, but at least we're working on this together, and we're beginning to move the process in economic development. So I thought that was really key information, that we all be singing out of the same hymnal, and that we all be working towards economic development, whether or not we like this business or that business.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Mayor.
Yeah, so thank you to the CDA. They're doing an outstanding job, and I think have come together cohesively and are just doing really, really well and getting on track for the things that authority is set up to do. So I want to say thank you to them and for
for the investment that they made, both in time. I think everybody there, except maybe the council president, works a real job of the ones that were there, but they took their time and came, and so thank you all for doing that. Other than that, I'll just say Merry Christmas to everyone. Hope you have a nice holiday season. Hope it's good for you and your family, and a Happy New Year.
And I'll just quickly start off. We did have, even though fire is not one of my areas, but we did have a call from Mr. Giles Kilgore complimenting the fire department, and he followed up with the chief by sending a letter, actually dropping some food by one of the fire stations. It was in response to a call for help for his wife. She'd just gotten home from a total knee replacement, had a bottoming out apparently of her blood pressure, and he said the firemen were so responsive, worked so well, that he just felt like the city needed to know how well they do, and he was very complimentary. And this is definitely a gentleman. He was in sales most of his life. I've known him for a while, and he doesn't give compliments freely, so he was very sincere, and he appreciated the way the firemen responded. And that's all my compliments for tonight. Councilor Wilson? Okay. Councilor Beard?
I'd just like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Maybe we won't see you again till then, but we had a wonderful time at the Christmas parade last Saturday. If you didn't make it, you missed a treat and a good time. We had quite a long parade there, and just hope we have as much turnout as we did last year. And that's all I've got now.
Thank you. Councilor Spivey?
I do not have anything to report, thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilor London?
Yes, I just want to echo David about that word unity. I understand what that means. I really do. I really understand. And you're right. We have to have unity. We have to have the same place. But in order to have that, we all have to be inclusive of what's going on. You know, in order to speak the same language, we have to be inclusive so we can speak the same language. Because I think that's important. I think it's very important. So you're right, and I agree with you. And I want to say thank you for what you're doing. So I hope we'll be able to get on the same page 2019 and be included, all of us, be included in what's happening so we can speak that same language. Because if we don't, we're not included and we can't speak the same language. I'm just sorry, it's not going to happen. And so I appreciate that. And Merry Christmas to everybody. Happy New Year.
All right, thank you so much. Any reports of boards and non-council committees? Please, ma'am.
Hi, ma'am. Mr. Mayor. Hi, my name is Kelly Shoemaker, Director of the Irondale Chamber of Commerce, and we did have a really nice Christmas parade. So I thank all of those who participated, all of those who came out and saw it. I do want to thank our judges. Our head judge was Dickie Drake, who also sponsored the parade and the Christmas tree, as well as Everett West, City Chamber President Terry Smith, and Ron Bishop. Also, thank you to Mercedes for giving us 3 of the most gorgeous convertibles that I wish I could take one home with me. And the Shades Valley Band who came out, the schools. Just so you know, Al's Barbershop was the grand prize winner of $300. The second place was to a Boy Scout troop. They won $200. I believe it was Troop 47. And then the most school spirit, or the most Christmas spirit, was Irondale Middle School. So they won $100. So thank you for everything. It ended up, the sun came out, so it was good. Things that are coming up, we do have the State of the City with Mayor Moore will be on Thursday, January the 10th. It will be at Country Club from 11:30 until 1 o'clock, and you're all invited. Members are $20 and non-members $25. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. All right. Anybody willing to make an attempt on the agenda?
I'll try. I'd like to make a motion that agenda be approved with the following change. Resolution 1, that change it to Wednesday, January the 2nd. And on resolution 1, yeah, item number 1.
And how about consent on item 1 and 2 as we agreed?
1 and 2, yes.
All right.
Excuse me,
And with that being said,
Second.
second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you, motion carries. Now, do we have any public comments on agenda items only? All right, if not, let's move directly to number 3, which is the resolution that we got in the discussion in the previous meeting. Is somebody willing to put it out on the floor and continue the discussion? But we do need to get the motion on the floor to get that discussion going if we're going to move forward with it.
Make a motion that resolution 2018 R68 be approved as submitted.
As submitted. Do I have a second on that motion?
Second that.
Okay. All those in favor?
Question.
Oh, shoot.
Roll call vote, please.
Yeah, question. So the resolution as it is written, that's how we're gonna keep it. Is that
That is the motion, yes.
based on the discussion we had earlier, is this what we're gonna
Item, yes,
keep?
item number 2 in the resolution states that the mayor is hereby authorized to negotiate and execute the lease agreements.
Okay. We've had a second on that motion. Okay, call the
Roll
vote
call vote, please.
just for the record, so we've got everybody down. Okay, start on the far end.
As it's written, no.
Okay, Counselor Spivey,
Yes.
Counselor Bearden,
Yes.
Counselor Wilson.
No.
Myself, yes. So in that case, motion carries. At this point, do we have any public comments to the council not related to the agenda, just general comments? And, excuse me, ladies first, please. Sorry.
Okay,
Thank you.
we have a problem on Call Daily Road, in Lafayette, Bramble Lane. Good evening, everybody. There is a lot of speeders. I've conversed with many neighbors along Call Daily, including my road, which is Bramble Lane. When you pull out of Bramble Lane, coming up the hill, we cannot see them coming, they cannot see us pulling out. I don't know if we need a heavier police presence or a speed bump or something before someone gets killed. I myself, pulling out just a few weeks ago, person came so fast, they actually had to swing into the other lane to miss me. That's how fast they were going. Now, it's a residential road. I don't think the speed limit is 60 miles an hour. If someone had been coming in the opposite direction, it would have been a really bad record, deaths or serious injuries. So I don't know how we can go about starting the process, I've never done speed bumps, just dog park, so that's gonna be my new thing. How do we go about addressing
Quick
this
comment,
problem?
that is not a council issue as such. It's
Okay.
actually an administrative issue. So
Okay,
we would refer you to the mayor, and he would refer you to the police chief and street and sanitation. I will tell you
yeah,
that it's a long, drawn-out process
that's okay.
to get
I got time.
speed bumps, and the chief
I
will.
could
Go
respond
ahead.
briefly to that. I think I've already asked the chief, I'll follow up and see what he's found in terms of what they call working traffic there.
Mhm.
So I'll see what results are. Sometimes it verifies what you think anecdotally, and sometimes it doesn't. But
Right.
I can tell you that I know your street. It's a blind street. It's difficult. That's an issue that's already. I mean, that ship's already sailed. The drive is where it is.
Right, right.
I'm not giving you an answer, but I will tell you that it is a long shot to nowhere to think that you're going to get a speed bump on Carl Daly Road. I mean, they will rarely approve them in small residential streets, and that one I would just say don't hold your breath.
I won't hold my breath, but maybe a flashing light to let us know if traffic's coming, or a mirror. Because I watched my neighbor almost get hit yesterday when he
Yeah,
was
no,
pulling in off street.
I get it, but we'll go to the chief and let him, I mean, the traffic is their area, and so we'll.
Okay.
But Ed, your point of contact would be Mayor Moore, and he will.
Lucky you.
So,
No, it's good.
that's what he's there for. That's-
Okay, I
that's his
appreciate
function,
it.
because it's city employees that have that
Okay.
issue.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate that, appreciate your comments. Anyone else? Mr.
I
Brown?
want to pat my neighborhood on the back, Grantsville Crossing. Sunday night, we had a party. We had 74 gift cards, food gift cards, Gus's, Jack's, Honey Baked Ham, to give to the police. And this year, there was enough to give to the fire department. And just as a token of appreciation.
Thank you.
A few days out, we had 24, and I was worrying. But it got up to 74.
Great. Appreciate that, Mr. Crowe. Thank you. Any additional comments? Okay, is there a motion to adjourn?
Hey, one
Oh,
question, Mayor. Could you expound on construction that's happening on John Rogers Road Drive?
On who?
John Rogers Drive, crossing the Guiding Light Church over there?
What, I'm sorry, what is your question?
John, there's construction going on John Rogers Drive. You don't have any
That would be,
idea?
Guiding Light Church?
Guiding Light
That's in
Church.
Birmingham.
I think it's on this side. You don't have it? Okay,
Nothing I know of from Irondale.
okay.
Is it on the street or off?
I just got an email, just wanted, I'll follow up on it tomorrow. Okay.
Thank you. Do I have a
Motion.
motion to adjourn?
Got a motion?
Okay, second. Second from Mr. Wilson. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. Everybody have a great holiday and be careful. Thank you for being here.